Another day and another instance of mass shooting in the USA. It has become almost like a norm. We read these news almost on a daily basis and think to ourselves that how is it possible that almost every citizen in the USA has the right to bear arms? From the perspective of GS Paints paper second and fourth, it is important that you remain engaged till the very end. Also, do not worry about notes because I provide the notes through my Telegram channel that is by the name of Pooja Dwivedi UPSC. If you have any queries regarding this examination, feel free to talk to me on my Instagram and follow me on my threads. So, the thing is that another incident of mass shooting has occurred, and specifically, I have to point out that it is in the main state of the USA. The city is Lewiston. In a bowling alley and at a restaurant, a suspect by the name of Robert Card, opened fire at so many innocent people. At least 20 have been reportedly killed. And the police has said the people in Auburn and Lewiston, they must remain in shelters because manhunt is recently going on for this person. As I told you, it's Robert Card. Robert Card, who is Robert Card basically? Robert Card is actually a trained firearms instructor in the US Army Reserve, and he has been battling mental health issues. He he has reported that he has been hearing voices to tell him to do certain things, and he was also committed to a mental facility. Thereafter he was released. So this suspect by the name of Robert Card has been profiled by the police, but it takes us to a more deeper problem. Of course, we know that he is actually battling mental health issues, but what about other cases? But more than that, how is almost everyone having the rights to arms? Because this is a constitution right. You know that the right to bear arms in the USA is actually a constitutional right. It stems from the Second Amendment of the USA Constitution, which says a well regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That means the Second Amendment of the USA Constitution has seemingly made it sacrosanct in nature for almost every citizen in the USA to possess and bear arms. But historians believe that this amendment was done so that the USA doesn't have to maintain a professional army. This was the rationale behind it. But when the Supreme Court interpreted it, the Supreme Court said no, this is actually associated with right to freedom. That is why almost every person in the USA can bear arms. In Texas, there is a law in which we can say that even a child can bear arms. That means there is no limit, no under limit at which you can have the right to bear arms. This is pretty disturbing in nature. And as we can see with the help of this particular graph, that the incidence of mass shootings are increasing. From 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 2020, 2021, 2022. And more so, people have been saying that during the times of the Republican president, it was more, but right now we have a Democrat president. This is just for the month of January for 2023. The mass shootings in the USA have occurred like an epidemic. You just see this. This is just for January. Now, let's talk about the laws. Who can possess arms and who can't possess arms? Let's see. Federal laws set out who is exempted from the general right to have a gun, the Second Constitution Amendment. To restrict the sale of firearms to fugitives, that means if anybody has come from another country to seek refuge in the USA, that's a fugitive. People who are classed as a danger to the society, anybody, you have to keep one keyword in mind: involuntarily committed to a mental institution. If they're voluntarily committed to a mental institution, then they can possess arms post their release. Those with certain criminal conviction, that means they have been charged and the charges have been proved. State laws govern matters such as whether firearms must be concealed or not. Federal law requires someone to be at least 21 years to buy a handgun from a licensed dealer. But when it comes to long guns, that means the guns which have long barrels, they can do it only at the age of 18. And this is really surprising. Some states also allow teens to buy or purchase arms without parental consent. if we talk about Texas, in Texas, there is no limit in terms of age. Even a child can possess arms. But generally, what do they practice in Texas? Somebody who is at least 18, then only they can possess arms. But as according to laws, if any child at the age of 12, 10, 5 possesses arms, that cannot be challenged in courts. Okay, the younger age for the guns, long guns date back to 1880s, the long barrel guns. Now, the biggest question that we are going to answer today is why is it so hard to regulate the circulation of arms in the USA? Because there is a political divide. Supposedly, if I talk about 13 states which are Democrat controlled, which are controlled by the Democrats, it's a party, the Republicans, the Democrats, they have enacted or expanded background checks for new gun purchases. That means if you want to possess firearms, a background check will be done for you. Do you have any criminal antecedents? What do you actually do? What is your profession? Do you have any mental illness? Were you ever convicted? These kind of background checks would be done. But in 14 other states which are controlled by Republicans, they have passed laws allowing their citizens to carry gun without any background checks. So there is a divide. We need more consensus among these big political parties so that we can pass better laws to regulate guns. Republicans remain staunchly opposed to new gun regulations. They are even against particular background checks. I will tell you about that as well. This is actually pertaining to the idea of freedom. Many Americans, almost 74% of gun owners who are Americans, they say that this is closely associated with their right to freedom, possessing firearms. Gun owners associate the right to own guns with their personal sense of freedom, as well as the second, this is the first, most or primary reason for possessing firearms, as according to 74% of the gun owners. The second is personal protection and protection of their family. Then there is National Rifles Association. Of course, it's their bread and butter. Not only bread and butter, but a way to manipulate and control the Congress. National Rifles Association is a big association. It's influential, it's powerful, and it's like a corporate structure that is dealing in arms at the cost of lives. So, they say gun bans wouldn't protect Americans. But if you say that any school, there was an idea that we must declare the schools to be gun-free zones. But they said that if you put these areas as gun-free zones, then it would attract those who are bearing arms and they want to kill people. NRA would help create, this was an idea that NRA would help create a National School Shield Emergency Response Program to help the little children hiding behind any shield, so that if any gunner comes along and wants to claim their lives, they can be protected. Interestingly, 77% of the NRA members who own guns are Republicans or lean Republicans. Moving on. Also, in December 2021, there was a legislation that was brought out that if any person wants to possess guns, we can at least do background checks. But Republican Chuck Grassley said that it is not at all needed because law-abiding citizens may also turn into criminals if we start doing background checks on them. The USA had 390 million guns in circulation in 2018 according to the Small Arms Survey, and 3 out of every 10 US adult owns a gun according to Pew Research Center. And there are also instances of mentally ill people having access to arms. If they haven't got the help that they need, counseling, medication, and they have guns, just imagine how will they take out their frustration. If we talk about the Texas and Ohio shootings in 2019, former President Donald Trump did say that these people are severely mentally ill, that is why they have been using gun. But this is just a symptom, not a cause. Also, many mass shooters are not mentally ill. According to Dr. Stone, 65% of mass shooters are not mentally ill. So what is the problem? The United States is actually the biggest arms dealer on earth, domestically and internationally. If we talk about from 2017 to 2021, it sold weapons to over 100 nations. 2020 alone, American companies made $111 billion from foreign military sales. You must be thinking it is just to get profit. No. It is also to influence behavior, It is also to increase dependence. It is also to make sure that the political and geopolitical influence of the USA remains all over the world, the hegemony of the USA. So it is not just profit, but geopolitical manipulation as well. What can we do at least to regulate guns, the circulation of guns in the USA? First of all, we can talk about lifting the minimum age at least to 2021 pan USA. It doesn't depend upon state to state basis. We also must ensure that guns come with safety locks so that children, mentally ill and the challenged, everybody can, it's not possible for everybody to use a gun that is not belonging to them. Also, background checks are the need of the hour. Until and unless more consensus is built upon this particular issue in the Congress, we can at least go for background checks. Then smart gun technology, if we have a phone that can open with the help of our fingerprint only, why not have guns that are smart in nature and they can have certain technologies which are actually helpful, such as smartphones. Also, we have to fund more research in gun violence, as in we have to fund the kind of research that is looking for gun violence pan USA. Then only we will be able to understand what policy differentiation we need. And legal immunity for gun manufacturer. Do you know in 2005 a legislation was passed by the name of Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act, and any company cannot be sued on the basis of violence by arms with the help of this legislation, and this is not helping anyone. So I hope you got good amount of things for answer writing. Now this is a prelims question. The second amendment of the US Constitution is related to, these are the given options. You have to tell me in the comment segment the right answer, and I will take your names in the upcoming class. Thank you so much for watching.